Skinwalker Sounds. There comes a time when you watch that video, the one that will live with you forever, and you show it to all your friends, the one you think about just as you're about to go to sleep, or just as you're about to turn off all the lights. This is that video for many of us here at MrFear, one of the most harrowing and terrifying clips that we've ever featured on this channel before. That being said, it's best to proceed with caution, as this isn't for the faint of heart. The video begins with what looks like an innocent dirt bike excursion in the woods.
If you turn around and you never get to see what's on the other side, that's where all the gold is waiting over there.
Little does the man in the video know it's about to turn very dastardly indeed. The first part of the excursion begins normally, until the biker starts to hear some very strange sounds.
Hello?
Turn up your volume, because you won't want to miss this. It sounds like the cry of a newborn and the yelp of a house cat mixed together. After spending hours listening to the sounds of forest-dwelling animals, we can confirm this sounds like none of them. Suddenly, sounds of branches begin to break all around him. He yells, "Hello?" but receives no response.
Hello?
So with that, he kicks up and cruises along. Later, the man stumbles across many different bones scattered over a trail and then a whole carcass.
Oh God, there's even more bones than last time.
Probably an animal, but terrifying nonetheless. It's starting to get dark now, so the man kicks the power on the bike.
Oh!
It's here where you can listen. The forest is abuzz with crickets and birds alike.
Oh, there's two ways.
Suddenly, the noises cease altogether, and the air becomes electric all around him.
It just got really quiet really fast.
You can actually feel it in the nape of your neck right now. The man notices the silence immediately and seems to be on high alert, looking around himself for any signs of danger. And that's when he spots it. Some terrifying creature peeking out from the bushes only a few meters ahead of him. Terrified, the man attempts to start his dirt bike, and at first it doesn't start. He finally kicks it into gear and hurries away from the scene. And that's when the video ends. Have fun sleeping tonight.
That was my cue to leave.
Living Nightmare. This one is weird. Really, really weird. The kind of weird that'll have you scratching your head long after it's over. Don't believe us? Just watch. Now, the context behind the video isn't great. It's a short clip without a lot of background information, but the spooks make up for it tenfold. There's no doubt about it. It looks to feature a couple of vlogging guys on a nighttime hike, taking a cigarette break, and generally enjoying each other's company. While the group is resting, the camera operator begins to hear noises to his right. So naturally, he turns the camera to face the bizarre set of noises. He tells the rest to be still and quiet so he can focus, and as he does so, many different sizes of what look to be various shadows play across the frame, entering and leaving at will. It's a strange sight to be sure, but it's about to get even stranger. All of a sudden, a certain area of the forest gets unnaturally dark, and then something quickly emerges from the shadows with a vengeance, followed by what sounds like a low growl. It looks to be some sort of shadow creature of some kind. Whatever it is, it's certainly not human, nor does it look or sound like an animal either. You can sort of make out what looks to be a skull for a head if you look closely, but maybe that's just our imagination. Whatever it is, it's not something you'd want to encounter in the dark, that's for sure. What do you make of this? Let us know down below. Wild one. On a long hike in the middle of nowhere, a hiker decides to stop at the creek to clean off his shoes. What he saw across the creek will change his life forever. Let's get into it. The video captures some kind of humanoid figure, though those on the internet are divided as to what it might be. The figure is large and bulking, and moves rather oddly with very specific motions. At first glance, it looks like it could be a Bigfoot sighting, but on closer inspection, it's really hard to tell. Every time you look at it, it seems to morph into something else in the imagination. It seems to be motioning to something, using its large and exaggerated limbs to send some kind of signal. When a cyclist moves by, though, the figure has disappeared entirely, leaving no trace of its weirdness behind. What do you make of this odd sighting? Let us know down below. A face. This next one is going to have you hiding your eyes and checking under beds just to make sure there's nothing there. Initially posted to Reddit, a man explains how he's an avid hunter and he has set up a few trail cams in the woods just to see where he had the best options coming deer hunting season. That's all fine and good until one of the cams, at first bustling with the most animal activity, hasn't seen an animal of any kind in days. At first, thinking the cam stopped working, the man went to check, but the feed was still live and everything was normal. Or was it? The man wondered why all of this animal activity had suddenly stopped. Had something scared them away? After checking the last footage of a buck he had been tracking, he managed to capture something odd. To the left of the frame, what looks like a figure of some kind, resembling a toddler, was dressed up as a clown, as odd as that sounds. Now, these trail cameras don't have the best resolution, so this could be an actual person dressed up in strange clown clothes, lurking strangely in the middle of a forest, and it's just made to look ghostly because of the frame rate. That being said, what's worse, a ghostly clown figure or a real one? You be the judge of that. Shadow in the trees. On the way back from a hiking trip, a mother and daughter spotted something they will be talking about well into their old age. There's no doubt about it. Take a look. They zoom into what looks to be the outskirts of a forest.
What'd you see?
What the frick is that?
What?
There's some kind of figure lurking behind the trees. It seems to peek out to look too.
Nana, what is that?
Revealing what looks like a set of normal human hands, though the rest of them look to be made out of pitch blackness. We couldn't find the original video, and there's no evidence as to what happened next.
What'd you see?
What the frick is that?
What? It's behind that tree.
Whatever it is, it's not something you want to encounter ever, and one of those sightings that will be passed on from generation to generation.
What'd you
What the
see?
frick is that?
What? It's behind that tree.
Nana, what is that?
Wandering alone. While en route to his favorite campsite, a man is navigating the pitch black darkness and the uneven terrain, desperately tired and ready to hit the sack. According to the man, the wandering road goes on for roughly 30 to 40 miles to a remote spot where he likes to sit and think alone. On the way there, the man spots a strangely dressed person walking across the makeshift road. Cloaked in all white, the person is moving slowly and seems unfazed by the car making its way so close. The figure looks to be wearing some kind of hood, which could suggest cult activity or something, though it's hard to tell from such a quick shot. It's no doubt a real person, but what are they doing out here in such a remote location, seemingly all alone and dressed so strangely? Could it be the man stumbled into something he wasn't supposed to see? Who's to say? It is a good reminder to stay diligent and always on the lookout. You don't know what kind of people you'll end up coming across. The Aswang. Somewhere in the Philippines, deep in the heart of the forest, a vlogger and his crew are on a nighttime hike, hoping to film some good content for their nature channel.
Parang galit.
Despite warnings from friends and family about lurking aswangs, the vloggers make the trek anyways, seemingly unafraid of what might lurk in the shadows. Aswangs, if you didn't know, are very well-known creatures from Filipino folklore. It is said that the aswang takes on the form of a vampiric witch who is often very hungry for infant blood. They are known to haunt the forest, hoping to lure the children in order to drink their blood for sustenance. Little did these bloggers know they were about to confront a living folktale head-on. Later on the hike, the group stumbles across this old abandoned shack of sorts. The shack is long abandoned and absolutely littered with junk and debris.
May tao ba dyan? Ayan.
It's hard to tell what any of the items are, but none of it looks at all useful. As the two continue to search the abandoned shack, they begin to hear strange noises coming from within the woods, sounds of large branches breaking violently, as if something is fumbling towards them. The footage rolls on, and the noises become louder, now sounding like the mix of a crow and an old woman laughing. As soon as the camera pulls back, a white figure can be seen ahead, deep in the dark of the woods.
Ayan. Ayan, may bata. Hoy! Hoy!
It looks human in its general shape, but it's hard to tell exactly. Whatever it is, it's cloaked entirely in white. It seems to stand there for a moment, look at the man, then walk further and further into the woods.
Saan ka pumunta? Yan. Diyan ako galing kanina mga ka-excuse. Diyan ako galing kanina. Diyan ako dumadaan.
The man attempts to follow a couple of hundred paces behind, but the figure just keeps walking and walking, further and further into the unknown.
Grabe. Whew! Jesus name. Grabe ba? Diyan ako galing kanina mga ka-excuse. Diyan ako dumadaan.
Runner. If you've learned anything from this channel, let it be this: don't go hiking after dark. The reason is probably evident, but the next video doubles down on it. Go on, just watch. The footage begins in the dark of the night, in a crowded and unkempt forest. The person is on one of those clear your head walks and begins to see something move in the distance. Initially, they brush it off, until they begin to hear something strange too. They quickly whip out their phone to record when all of a sudden, a person's head pops out from one of the tree trunks in the distance. The head whips around fast, disappearing as soon as it appears. It's a strange sight. And what's worse is encountering such a bizarre stranger in the middle of nowhere in the dead of night. What would you do if this were you? Would you keep on walking or run in fear? Trail cam unknown. This next one has us stumped. Hopefully you can help. Take a look. The footage is short and we were unable to trace any kind of origin to it at all. So take it all with a grain of salt. The video begins with a wolf-like howl, uncertain if it's a creature we'll see or something else entirely. Just only a few seconds later, some kind of strange, abnormal animal comes barreling through the thicket, walking on all fours with strange, unnatural movement. Its features don't definitely resemble any animal we're familiar with. It seemingly has cat-like ears, a bat-like face, and the body resembles that of a dog or a wolf. It's a strange and peculiar sight, and something you'd never, ever want to see in person. Watching you. On a daytime hike, you don't expect anything particularly strange to happen. You can see in front of you. You're able to make sense of the entirety of your surroundings, and there's nothing left to question, right? Wrong. The next video proves that no matter the time of day, strange and peculiar things will always happen, and this video is certainly no exception.
Iki lho ora mung bucak mung gacuk njaluk salam wae atik penak men nyorasakno dhewe munggah-munggah dhewe iki lho.
It begins with a large group of hikers all donning their serious hiking gear. This is definitely not their first hike, but upon review of their footage, it certainly might be their last. As they all make it down the crux of the mountain, a strange-looking figure can be seen far behind them. It's unnaturally tall and all dressed in white, looking like something resembling a Scooby-Doo villain if anything. It is watching the hiking group for whatever reason, and doesn't seem to take its time disappearing. Whatever it is, doesn't look friendly. That much is clear.
Iki lho ora mung bucak mung gacuk njaluk salam wae atik penak men nyorasakno dhewe munggah-munggah dhewe iki lho. Ora mung gacuk salam wae atik penak men kene ling